Good afternoon, students. Today I'm going to explain a very important lesson in social, talking about the early Americas. We started talking about them 2 weeks ago, and we're going to complete what we started. We talked before about the Maya, the Aztecs, and today we're going to talk about the Incas. Chapter 16, section number 3. We said the Maya developed an advanced civilization that thrived in Mesoamerica from about 250 until the 900s. Also, we talked about the Aztecs, guys, and we said that the Aztecs have a great empire situated in central Mexico in 1325, and it lasted until the Spanish conquest in 1521. Today, we're going to talk about the Incas. And we're going to know that the Incas controlled a huge empire in South America, but it was conquered by the Spanish. Let's go directly, guys, to the lesson that we're going to explain today, which is the Incas. Look here, the Incas. Now he wants you here in that part to imagine that you were there. What is going to happen? I'm going to read it quickly. You live in the Andes Mountains where you raise llamas. Llamas is a kind of animals that look like camels. You weave their wool into warm cloth. Last year, soldiers from the powerful Inca Empire took over your village. They brought in new leaders who say you must all learn a new language and send much of your woven cloth to the Inca ruler. They also promised that the government will provide for you in times of trouble. If you looked at that part, he wants you to imagine that you have returned back to the time of the Incas, and you were living in a village. This village has been conquered by the Incas or some soldiers. What are you going to do? He's asking you, what are you going to do? How do you feel about living in the Inca Empire? Look here, we have the main ideas that we're going to focus on today. The Incas created an empire with a strong central government in South America. Idea number two, life in the Inca Empire was influenced by social structure, religion, and the Incas' cultural achievements. We're going to talk about the religion, about the social structure, about the achievements of the Inca Empire. Idea number 3, Francisco Pizarro conquered the Incas and took control of the region in 1537. Now, let's go to another part. Here, he's trying to build or to give us a background or to make us have a background about the Incas. You see here, the Incas built their huge empire by taking over village after village. So they were what? They were attacking villages, and they were taking one after one in South America. They brought many changes to the people they conquered before they were themselves conquered by the Spanish. You know, guys, what is happening when an imperial country is attacking another country or conquering another country? It tries with all possible means to impose some changes on this country in order to guarantee their loyalty. One of them is, for example, is to impose their language on the country they have or it was conquered. That's what is going to happen. Let's see in that part, guys, if you read that part, how the Inca has been formed. Here, the lesson is inaugurated with what, guys? Is inaugurated with, while the Aztecs were ruling Mexico, the Inca Empire arose in South America. So we know, guys, about the Aztecs was situated where? In Mexico, while the Inca Empire was situated in South America. The Incas began as a small tribe in the Andes. So, like the Maya, like the Aztecs, the Incas began also a small tribe at its beginning. Their capital was Cusco, in what is now Peru. In the mid-1400s, a ruler named Peshacuri began to expand the Inca territory. So, who ruled the Inca Empire in the mid of 1400s? Peshacuri. What did he do, guys? He tried to expand Inca territory. So underline these 5 lines. It's very important. Later leaders followed his example. What did the leaders do after Pichacuri? They followed his example. They followed his footsteps. And by the early 1500s, the Inca Empire was huge. So what was the result of conquering places or village after village, guys? The Inca Empire was huge. It stretched from modern Ecuador to central Chile and included what coastal deserts, snowy mountains, fertile valleys, and thick forests. About 12 million people lived in the empire. To rule effectively, the Incas formed a strong central government. Here we have so many questions. What did Pichacuri do in the mid 1400s? Expanded Inca territory. What did later leaders do after him? They followed his footsteps in order to increase, or to expand the empire. What was the result of that? The Inca Empire was huge. Now let's go to the second page. Central rule or central rule. Here in that part, the writer or the author is telling us here, Pichacuri didn't want the people he conquered to have too much power. What did he do in order to limit the power of the people he conquered? He began a policy of removing local leaders and replacing them with new officials he trusted. He began to make some changes. One of them is to change the leaders with some leaders who are loyal to him. He also made the children of conquered leaders travel to Cusco to learn about Inca government. What happened also, guys? He sent the sons of the leaders to Cusco, the capital of the Inca Empire, in order to learn there. With that action, he is going to guarantee the loyalty of the leaders of the places he conquered. Also, in that part, guys, as another means of unifying the empire, the Incas used an official Inca language. He changed the language, with the language of the Inca Empire, which is Quechua. Quechua, guys. Although people spoke many other languages, all official business had to be done in Quechua. Even today, many people in Peru speak Quechua. Now, let's go a little bit down. A well-organized economy. The Inca government strictly controlled the economy and told each household what work to do. Most Incas had to spend time working for the government as well as themselves. Most Incas were working for themselves sometime, and they must allocate time for the government as tax, and we're going to see after that what is going to happen. Farmers tended government land in addition to their own. Villages made cloth and other goods for the army. Some Incas served as soldiers, worked in mines, or built roads and bridges. In this way, people paid taxes in the form of labor rather than money. So all people were working for what? Were working for the government. Instead of paying taxes, they were paying labor, paying work for the government. This labor tax system was called the mera or mita. Another feature of the economy, the Inca economy, was that there were no merchants or markets. Everything was the government was responsible for, guys. There are no merchants, no markets. You know what is happening nowadays, guys? You will find the traders and the merchants are storing everything in order and they play with people with the prices. So the government, the Inca government, decided not to give or to have merchants or traders. Everything was in the hands of what? Of the government. Government officials would distribute goods collected through the mira. Leftover goods were stored in the capital for emergencies. So, guys, if you look here, you will know that the Inca Empire has a policy. It's not it's not working by chance or coincidentally, guys. They were what, guys? They kept leftover goods for what? For emergencies. If a natural disaster or a natural crisis struck, or if people simply couldn't care for themselves, the government provided supplies to them. Here we have a question that is very important. How did the Incas control their empire? I explained it on the top of the page. They did what, guys? They brought in new leaders, educated leaders, the children in the capital. They sent the children of the leaders to the capital in order to learn about the Inca civilization. As a result of that, they are going to guarantee their loyalty. They established an official religion, established Quechua in the official language. Okay, they made Quechua the language of the Inca, the language of the place they conquered, imposed the labor tax, collected and distributed what? Goods. That's really good. Right? Now let's go to another thing. Now we're going to talk about the social structure and life in the Inca Empire. Life in the Inca Empire, because the rulers controlled Inca society so closely, the common people had little personal freedom. At the same time, the government protected the general welfare of all the empire. But that didn't mean everyone was treated equally. Like what is happening nowadays, guys. Like what is happening nowadays. You will find in all countries in the whole world, not all people are going to be dealt equally. Rich people are they have good treatment, while poor people sometimes have bad treatment because they are really poor. You won't find equality in all countries, by the way. Social division. I explained before that the Maya and the Aztecs divided their society into three categories: upper class, middle class, and lower class. Here, in the Inca Empire, we have only two classes: the upper class and the lower class. The upper class consists of what, guys, here? The emperor, priestess, and the government officials. While the lower class here consists of farmers, artisans, and the servants. How was the life of the upper class people? Members of this class lived in stone houses, in Costco, and wore the best clothes. While the lower class guys, if you looked here, they wore what, guys? They dressed in plain clothes, and their houses were simple. Their houses were what, guys? Were simple. Also here, look here, I'm talking about the upper class. They didn't have to pay the labor tax. They didn't have to work for the government to pay the labor tax. But the common people or plebeians, like the lower class people, they have to work for the government to pay the labor tax. Inca rulers, for example, could relax in luxury at Machu Picchu. This royal retreat lay nestled high in the Andes. So, the upper class people were what, guys? Were living a luxurious life at Machu Picchu. This royal retreat lay nestled high in Andes. Okay, high in the Andes, they built palaces, gardens that could be found behind and the garden that could be found behind its gated wall. Now let's complete. The lower class in Inca society included farmers, artisans, and servants. There were no slaves, however, because the Incas didn't practice slavery. Most Incas were farmers. In the warmer valleys, they grew crops like maize and peanuts. In the cooler mountains, they carved terraces into the hillsides and grew potatoes. High in the Andes, people raised llamas, and we said that llamas, kind of animals, look like camels. South American animals related to camel for meat and wool. Lower class Incas dressed in plain clothes. We said that in the comparison between the lower class and the upper class, and lived simply. By law, they couldn't own more goods than what they needed to survive. Most of what they produced went to the MERA, the labor tax system, and the upper class. Now let's talk about the religion. The Inca social structure was partly related to religion. For example, the Incas thought that their rulers were related to the sun god and never really died. So here we have a very important question. Why did the Incas think that their rulers, are not, never really died? Because they were related to the sun god. As a result, Priests brought mummies of former kings to many ceremonies. People gave these royal mummies food and gifts. So they were putting with the royal mummies in their tombs food and gifts. In my opinion, this is because they thought that there is life after death. Inca ceremonies often included sacrifices. What is a sacrifice? Is to slaughter an animal or a human for the sake of God. But unlike the Maya and the Aztecs, the Incas rarely sacrificed a human. So Maya and the Aztecs were sacrificing a human to please the gods. But the Incas rarely sacrificed the humans. Instead, they sacrificed llamas, cloth, and food. In addition to practicing the official religion, people outside Cusco worshipped other gods at local sacred places. The Incas believed certain mountain tops, rocks, and springs and magical powers. Many Incas performed sacrifices at these places as well as the temple in Cusco. Now let's go to the achievements. Inca temples were grand buildings. The Incas were master builders, known for their expert masonry. Masonry, like what guys nowadays, architecture, stonework. So they were proficient builders. They cut stone blocks so precisely that they didn't need cement to hold them together. So they were clever builders. The Incas also built a network of roads. Two major highways ran the length of the empire and linked to many other roads. The Incas produced works of art as well, artisans. So they were clever artisans, guys. People who are having professions like farming, like building. Artisans made pottery and gold and silver jewelry. They even created a life-sized cornfield of gold and silver, crafting each cup, leaf, and stalk individually. Inca weavers, people who are making carpets and mats, they were really clever, made some of the finest textiles in the Americas. That's really good. Now, let's go, guys, to another page. We have here the picture of the animal llama that looks like a camel. It's complete. While such artifacts tell us about the Incas, nothing was written about their empire until the Spanish arrived. Indeed, the Incas had no writing system. Instead, they kept records with numeric codes called quipus. So if I ask you to underline this part, what are quipus? Quipus are knots in the cord represented numbers. Different colors stood for information about crops, land, and other important topics. The Incas also passed down the history orally. So the history of the Incas has passed from one generation to another using the mouth, word of mouth. People sang songs and told stories about daily life and the military victories. Official memorizers learned long poems about Inca legends and history. Eventually, after the conquistadors came, conquistadors means conquerors, guys. Someone who conquers another place. Records were written in the Spanish and Quechua. Quechua, the language of the Inca Empire. We know about the Incas from these records and from the stories that survive in the songs, dances, and the religious practices of the people in the region today. Pizarro conquers the Incas. The arrival of conquistadors changed more than how the Incas recorded history. In the late 1520s, a civil war began in the Inca Empire after the death of the ruler. Two of the ruler's sons, Atahualpa and Huáscar, fought to claim the throne. Each one of them was trying to be the king, to be the emperor, to have the crown. Atahualpa won the war in 1532, but fierce fighting had weakened the Inca army, or the Inca Empire. On his way to be crowned as a king, Atahualpa got news that a band of about 180 Spanish soldiers arrived in the Inca Empire. They were conquistadors led by Francisco Pizarro. You will find some Spanish guys saying it Pizarro. When Atahualpa came to meet the group, the Spanish attacked. They were greatly outnumbered. They were more than Atahualpa's men, but they caught the unarmed Incas by surprise. And Atahualpa's men were unarmed Also, okay, Pizarro's men or Francisco Pizarro's soldiers surprised Arolaba's soldiers. To win his freedom, Arolaba asked his people to fill a room with gold and silver for Pizarro. Inca brought jewelry. Before going to the last page, guys, how did daily life differ for upper class and lower class Incas? I think I explained it in detail. Let's go, guys, to here. Statues and other valuable items from all parts of the empire melted down. The precious metals may have totaled 24 tons. They would have been worth millions of dollars today. Despite this huge payment, the Spaniards killed Atahualpa. Despite, or in spite of the huge payment that the men of Atahualpa paid for saving his head, the Spaniards killed what? Killed Atahualpa. Why did they kill Atahualpa, guys? They knew that if they let the Inca ruler live, he might gather his people and overpower their forces. Some Incas fought back after the emperor's death in 1537. Though Pizarro defeated the last of the Incas, Spain took control over the entire Inca Empire and ruled the region for the next 300 years. I think the lesson is very easy. Here we have what, guys? Biography of Atahualpa and biography of Francisco Pizarro. Atahualpa, guys, was the last Inca emperor. He was brave and popular with the Inca army, but he didn't rule long. He ruled only 13 years. At his meeting with Pizarro, he was offered a religious book to convince him to accept Christianity. Atahualpa held the book to his ear and listened. When the book didn't speak, Atahualpa threw it at the ground. The Spanish considered this as an insult and a reason to attack. Also, we have a biography of Francisco Pizarro. Francisco Pizarro organized expeditions to explore the west coast of South America. His first two trips were mostly uneventful, but in his third trip, Pizarro met the Inca with only about 180 men. He conquered the Inca Empire, which he had been weakened by a disease and the civil war. In 1535, Pizarro founded Lima, the capital of modern Peru. Let's go a little bit down, guys. Here we have the assessment, section 3. I'd like you guys to answer them alone. After 2 days, I'm going to upload the answer key for you guys on WhatsApp group. Thank you guys for today. Hoping to find the lesson of social enjoyable and exciting. Inshallah, I'm going to explain literature for you guys on Saturday to be uploaded on WhatsApp group on Sunday. Thank you.